This is another installment of Calling from the Underground. My name is Paul Needs a Friend. Today I'm here with my boy Johnny Kempt in Los Angeles. Now Johnny is he's a multifaceted artist. Incredible, by the way. He's a multi-instrumentalist, a singer-songwriter, a producer, an actor, and a fascist. No, I made that last part up. But as far as I know, you never worked a 9-to-5 job, at least not for a long time, right?
I worked a 9-to-5 job for about 5 years when I left school. I worked in a photo lab.
Okay. When did you realize that you can make a living by being an artist without having to?
Well, it took a bit of persuading for about, I've been working in the mainstream, 9-to-5 for about 5 years, and I had an original band that was starting to get quite successful down under.
Okay.
And about that stage, I started to see that, oh yeah, this could go somewhere, Started to get paid too, I had a selling out with a cover band here and there ever since I was about 13, and you get $50 in your hand, you start thinking, oh shivers, we made money for that,
Do you think it's easier to make money in New Zealand than it is in America with your art?
No, that's why I came to America, because I think there's more opportunity here, and we always saw it as a place. See, New Zealand as a country is worse off artistically, I would say, than a place like Ireland or anything like that, because it's so far removed from Europe or America. So, no, easier to make money in America, I would think, even though there are more people.
Okay. Would you recommend any people who are thinking about young people, anybody else thinking about getting into the arts, would you suggest that they move to Los Angeles, or would you suggest that they maybe use the internet and use their home as a base right now and spread themselves out more on the road?
Actually, well, I think that you yourself have been turned around this way, back to the roots and putting the horse before the cart. I think, utilise the internet if we can all figure out how to strip that and how to work that. I think that is the way to go now. I think I'm happy being in Los Angeles. I like it. It's kind of a love-hate thing. But I think for anybody that's starting out, find their own vibe and where they're living, whether it's a suburb or it's in Idaho or it's in Rarotonga in the South Pacific. Find their vibe at home and trying to utilise the modern technology to, sort of get themselves around.
I've always found that actually it's easier for me to play. I don't like playing where I live, personally. I always like playing away from where I live because it's easier for people. They don't judge you,
A prophet is never recognised in his hometown, right?
They didn't grow up with you. They didn't know what kind of loser you was in high school or anything else. So it's like, you're something new, you're something fresh when you're on the road. They give your music a fair chance, where I think, at least in the old paradigm of building something up from, it's easy to get fans, originally, because you go to school with them, so that's the only thing happening in your town. And I'm sure, it was like...
Actually, I was telling my girlfriend the other day, there was a situation where about, a few years after I left school and I'd gone full-time, we did a huge concert supporting a band called the Hoodoo Gurus from Australia. And I was standing up on stage and the band was playing great. And I looked out and I could see guys from my school, and I could see my ex-girlfriend who wanted to, get married, and I said, no, forget about that, I'm a muso. So that was the one experience I did have in my hometown, or a little clutch of experience where I thought, it's childish, but it was kind of like, I'm doing what I said I was going to do, and here I am, and you're out there and I'm up here, which is kind of childish, but it was basically me feeling like, hey man, I said I was going to do this, and I am doing it. And I'm not just doing it. We're doing it at a good level. So,
but you saw a lot of your friends though drop out over that. There was a couple of years you were working at the photo shop, right?
I saw a lot of friends drop out because they couldn't. I think I'm crazy enough to want to continue doing it until I'm 90 if I get that lucky.
And you got to have that little tick, that little craziness that will
I think we're all a bit bonkers, right?
Going against all the odds.
We're all a bit bonkers. I think if you're really serious muso, you're a little bit off left to centre, and I think I was bonkers enough and didn't really feel like I fit in really in any other way. And I've been full time now for 20 years in the arts, and I'm not one of these, and I think we were talking about this last night, I'm not one of these people that, I did movies when I was a child. I did a couple of movies when I was a kid.
Documentaries too.
And stuff. But I wasn't one of these guys that got the big break in one area, one genre, and got a canonised movie career. So I spread myself around over the years.
I think a lot of mistakes people are making these days. They want to go, and I made the same assumption. People want to go from 0 to 100 overnight, They want, you know, it's like the quick fix, like the diet pill.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And they want the rock star pill or anything else.
Exactly.
And, you know, they want, instead of trying to just bring it back to the music and the self-expression and building yourself up over a period of like 3 to 8 years, building yourself up to 80 or 90, they want to just like sign the contract and get, you know, jump out, find that big break, be discovered. But the real thing is you discover yourself.
Totally.
And you put yourself out there for people to appreciate. Now, I know you've done a lot of interesting things over the years. You did a Buddy Holly.
Yeah, I played Buddy Holly in Australia and New Zealand, which was actually kind of cool. And I had a band called the Scissormen, which was the original band that was really good. And we'd spent 10 years and we'd gone about as far as you can go in Australasia.
Okay.
We'd had In Excess's label look at us,
Yeah,
Trafalgar Records and their management look at us and said, we think you're the next big thing, but we weren't smart enough to get to the next step, or we made a lot of moves with, I think it's a common old story, you know, we made bad management moves or bad record deal moves, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got stiffed by the suits, which is so common. It's like 99% of bands make those dumb
Yeah.
mistakes. And so again, I had that period where I went to bed really depressed after about 10 years of slogging it out.
Yeah.
And then I got a phone call, would you come and audition for this musical? And I just, as soon as I picked up the phone, I thought, that's mine, eh? Because I'd seen an ad in the paper, next year this Buddy Holly musical's touring. I thought, shit, I'll go and see that. But as soon as they called me, it was one of those, I'm sure you've had those moments,
Yeah.
you know, where you just say, I'm going to get that. You
Yeah.
know? And the audition I did was crap. I sang every day and I'd been singing in a 3-night cover band stint. And I went in, my voice was all gravelly, and my hair was all over. And they loved me. I smiled my way through the audition. I did every day. I sounded like the worst nightmare.
You just got to have fun.
I had fun, and I was just, and in a funny way, I kind of almost didn't give a shit, you know, which you kind of, and that's always the best way to be, right?
Yeah.
And I smiled a lot, and I enjoyed doing it, and my voice sounded like crap. And the furthest thing from a head voice Buddy Holly sound.
Yeah.
And they came up and said, do you want to come to Australia next week and try, you know, and I said, yeah.
Now, I know in some of your down times in Los Angeles, you actually started giving guitar lessons, but you never worked a 9 to 5. And doing the guitar lessons, you actually ended up having some interesting students.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, I tell you, it's funny.
I don't know if you want to disclose
No,
any names
no,
here.
that's okay. I'm sure none of them would be too upset about that. Recently, I did a few lessons with Robert Patrick, you know, the melting Terminator guy.
Yeah, have you guys seen Terminator 2? He's also got a series on TV, I think.
Has he got a series right
yeah,
now?
I can't remember, or a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he was doing the X-Files for a while.
Yeah.
And I worked with Eric Idle's daughter Lily for a little while. Really talented
What is
child.
Eric known for?
He was in Monty Python.
Okay.
And he's got a really brilliant, talented daughter called Lily, who's a really excellent writer and really smart. I guess, you know, it's in the genetics there.
Yeah.
Taught Duff McKagan's daughter for a while from
Duff
GNR.
McKagan is, the bassist from Velvet Underground and Guns N' Roses, the 1980s band.
Yeah, and he's a really cool guy, and his daughter has got a real natural ability for sort of songwriting, really good singing. So what I'm saying is you make good contacts out here, but you get to teach some talented kids.
Exactly,
too.
and you never get kicked down, because even in your low point where you felt like maybe, oh, now I got to give guitar lessons, which isn't maybe the best thing to do, it turned into a positive experience for you.
Totally, and I think it's
as long as you keep your head up, keep the positive mind frame, and
I think it's one of the most rewarding
not
things.
feel like a failure, you know.
It's one of the most rewarding things I do out here. And in fact, funny enough, Andy Summers used to teach guitar in the Valley. I think he was here for almost 5-6 years. He taught guitar in the Valley before he joined the police. And I think he joined the police when he was about 35.
Okay.
And he taught here in the Valley for a long time. And funny enough, I do think it's a really rewarding thing working with kids, and it's exciting, especially when you see the ones that are really going in there. In fact, there's a young kid who just lives over the block here. A young kid called Eli Funk that I teach, and he's a brilliant little kid. And you know, at first it was a little bit hard for him to get started, but now he's just brilliant. He plays piano, bass, drums, guitar, and he's very singular in his approach to all of them.
Wow. You
know, and I don't try to. What I try to do with the kids is let them just be themselves. If they've got an innovative way they want to play, I'm not going to say, oh no, Segovia when they're done.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in them being them.
And that's exactly how we should be as artists in the underground.
Totally.
We should be, taking that same approach, because I think a lot of people are trying to teach us to do things in a mechanical way in order to come where we want to. Now, I think we're almost out of time here.
Right.
If there's any way, is there a way people can get a hold of you if they want, as a producer, as a guitar teacher, as a musician, because you play in the studio and out of the studio, you make a lot of
if I haven't talked your ear off too much already, email me at Johnny Kempt.
Spell it out.
I'll twang it a bit, shall I?
Okay.
JOHNNY KEMPT KEMPT@earthlink.net. Yeah, and
Okay.
then, you know, say
That's
hello.
the best way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we can use telephones as well, but I like hard copy. I like to read people's words. I mean, I feel like I actually articulate myself better on a piece of paper than I do on a telephone.
Yeah, well, you know.
I don't know, you know.
First impressions. Well, you're doing pretty good here. All right, I'd like to thank you.
Cheers,
and,
mate.
Yeah,
No
I
problems.
hope to
Always
see
a
you around
pleasure.
soon.
Okay, bro.
Bye-bye.